Hello everyone, today I wanted to talk about the best 4 stars to raise for integrated strategies. This is one of the most common questions I get on stream, especially when I do account reviews. So I thought I'd put it all in one place. That way you can start preparing your 4 stars. Now, for those who don't know what integrated strategies is, it's a rogue-like mode where you start with a team of 3 units, and then as you go, you get to recruit extra units on your team. If you fail, then you restart the run. There's no sanity cost for it. There are some rewards and some permanent rewards as well for doing runs. It's a really fun mode. It's a permanent mode that is coming out quite soon. And a very important thing to note is the power of the units that you use is equal to the power of the units in your roster. Except when you get a random lucky recruit where they give you a maximum power unit for free. That's completely separate though. So what that means is if you've got, say, a Thorns, and if your Thorns is E1 level 50, then your Thorns in integrated strategies will only go up to E1 level 50. Yes, there will be artifacts and such that will buff them further, but the unit in terms of level, in terms of promotion, will be E1 50. So it is important to level up your own units. Same thing with the modules. You will have the module that you have in your actual roster. So when talking about 4 stars, before we go into the particular picks, you want to still promote 4 stars for their masteries. This is if you want to get maximum power. Now, of course, it's not as important as getting your 6 stars to E2 with mastery, because obviously 6 stars get much more of an effect. But with a 4 star, mastery still makes a big difference. A fully leveled 4 star with mastery is still a very, very powerful unit. Content is very easy to clear with fully leveled, full mastery 4 stars. Just not as easy as 6 stars, of course. Right? So, that said, if you are on a bit of a budget, you don't have that many resources, at least get them to E160, skill level 7. That will get you most of the power that a unit has built in. Make sense? All right. Now, let's talk about which 4 stars to go for. So the first thing you want to do is get at least one of every class, because the recruitments that you get is random, like which class you can recruit in a run of IS2. Therefore, if you say get a sniper tag and you've only got enough points to recruit a 4 star, you want to have a good sniper available to recruit. If you keep getting sniper tags, that's unfortunate, but it's fine as long as you've got a few great core units. So go for one of each class before you start spreading out a bit. So let's get into the actual best 4 stars to go for. So on my alt account over here, I have E160 and Mastery for Myrtle, E2 Mastery for Myrtle, all of the best units that I recommend first. So you've got Myrtle, very self-explanatory. She's excellent for the same reasons that she is in general content. Arine is fantastic, by far one of the best 4 stars, because he can hit ground and air units very easily, and he blocks. Ranged guards are easily one of the best classes in integrated strategies because of the versatility. Versatility is king in this game mode, especially for your first few recruits, because it is very, very easy for a run to fail early on because you go up against a drone stage and you just don't have enough anti-air, or you go up against a swarm stage and you just don't have enough block. So ranged guards like Arine and Thorns are absolutely amazing because they hit ground, they hit air, and they provide a body to block enemies. So Arine is one of the best. However, Thorns, being a 6-star range guard, is one of the best 6 stars to start with. Therefore, if you are someone who's got Thorns already and you're going to be starting with Thorns quite frequently, then you don't need to focus on Arine that much, because Thorns will fill that role. Of course, there's nothing wrong with getting Thorns and Arine and covering 2 places at once, and they can also back up each other. Then you've got Cutter. Cutter is excellent because while she can't with her auto attacks hit aerial units. With her skills, she can. And it really helps, and she really, really kills drones very easily. And she's really solid. And then when you add in artifacts and so on, she charges up those skills very quickly. So she's a very strong one. Mouse, being an arts guard, is an excellent 4-star to have. Because there's a lot of units with very high defense, and you want some good arts damage. Starting with someone like Mouse is actually better in some instances than starting with an actual caster, simply because Mouse is a body to put in the way of enemies. It depends on the combination of your team, but if you've got, say, a sniper plus Mouse, that's probably better than, say, something like a physical damage guy, like, say, Melantha, plus a caster. That combo is better because she's a better body to have in the way. Do not underestimate just having not block count, but number of units to block lanes. It's very easy to get leaks in IS2. Then we've got Utagi. Utagi is a very good unit to just drop in and kill units, and once you get the artifacts as well, she can be an absolute monster on the fields. A very good one. Not a high priority to build though. If you're on a bit of a budget, go for the other guards first, but she's a really nice pick to go for later. Then we've got, over here I've got Jessica and May. What you mainly need is just 2 anti-air snipers. But May is much better than Jessica. I mainly have Jessica here because when I started the account, Jessica is the free anti-air sniper, and so I used her. If I had the choice, I would rather level up May and Meteor. But the best one is definitely May, and then just get another one eventually. No need for high priority on the second anti-air. Because I'll talk about the 3 stars a little bit as well later on, and in the 3 stars is Cruz, who is one of the best. Then you got Pinecone, very big damage. Pinecone in general is one of the best 4 stars in the game. She does monster damage in integrated strategies, so she's a very nice one to take. Though she's a bit more for more advanced players. Focus on the anti-air snipers first. Anti-air is more important than the likes of Pinecone, simply because of the level designs. Then you come to the defenders. So here I've got one of each type of defender. So I've got the arts defender, the healing defender, and just the full tank defender. The best defender is definitely Gummy. 100%. Again, because of the versatility. So she's a body with 3 block, a tank, and she provides healing. There have genuinely been runs where Gummy, her main role for me has been healing. Gummy is excellent. Really, really good to start a run with Gummy. Now, of course, similar to Irene and Thorns, if you're someone who's going to be starting with the likes of Saria, then obviously Gummy is not as high of a priority. Cora, self-explanatory, big tank, and Durna is for that arts damage. Because again, you can't guarantee that you're going to have enough arts damage. Durna is really good at holding lane and doing that nice AoE arts damage. Then we come to the healers. So Perfumer for the AoE, Susuro for the single target. Now, the most important 4-star in the game for IS2 is not Myrtle. Myrtle is the most powerful 4-star outside of this game mode. In IS2, the most important one is Perfumer, because she is an AoE healer. There are certain maps where AoE healing is absolutely vital. And if you don't have enough AoE healing, you simply can't win. And Perfumer being the only AoE healer makes her a must-have. You definitely want to build her up. Absolutely want to build her up. Quick note on the 5 stars, the most important 5-star is Telopsis for the exact same reason. You need to get those AoE healers built up, especially if you want to deal with one of the secret bosses where it's a ridiculous amount of AoE damage. Frankly, unfair amount of AoE damage. Then for single target, Susuro, just being the best single target 4-star healer in the game. That burst healing, extremely useful. Doesn't change in this mode at all. Supporters, you want Pogdenko. Pogdenko is, again, she's got that versatility. Because with her first skill, you can heal instead of attacking. And there are genuinely runs, similar to what I said with Gummy, where you just don't have enough medics. Sometimes you get 0 medics, and you're relying on units like Pogdenko to heal for you. And then, of course, her second skill just is an extremely strong one. So in terms of supporters, she's the go-to. For casters, Click is the best 4-star caster. For general content, the same is true over here. Nothing really changes there. Then when we come to the specialists, we've got Ethan, Jay, and Gravel for 3 different roles. So you've got Gravel, fast redeploy, pretty straightforward. You use her the exact same way as you do in general content. Ethan is not high priority, he's quite low priority in terms of building, but it is useful because depending on the artifacts, depending on the level, he's a good flex pick. Sometimes he won't be core to your team, but you will swap him in for certain levels and depending on your artifact setup, and he will very much facilitate an easy clear. Jay is one of the best 4-stars in the game in general, and in this mode he can get even stronger. He's got that flexibility of bringing silence, which is very useful for stages with exploding slugs, and then you can just use him as an off-lane tank with his second skill. Jay, very strong. Highly recommend you build him just for the game in general, but for this mode, he is definitely one of the best 4-stars. I put him probably in the top 3. Perfumer, Myrtle, Jay are probably the top 3. And then depending on your 6 stars, we'll edit the rest of the order. Then for the Vanguards, we've obviously got Myrtle and Beanstalk. Beanstalk, depending on your situation, Beanstalk is better than Myrtle for this mode. Why? Once again, say it with me, versatility. Beanstalk acts like a sniper. Now, she isn't an anti-air sniper, so she doesn't focus drones, but what you can do is you can use P-Pod to block enemies out of Beanstalk's range. Therefore, when a drone is coming past, she will focus the drone instead of the unit that her seedling is blocking. Very good strategy. Also, you can do some really fun stuff where you deploy P-Pod last after the rest of your team, and that becomes the focus unit and even the tank, distracting certain key powerful enemies. Beanstalk is absolutely fantastic. For general content as well, a bit more of an advanced player Vanguard, but there's no better time there to get used to playing Beanstalk than in IS2. Highly recommend building her. Definitely one of the top 10 4-stars. So those are the 4-stars I recommend you focus on. And again, remember, do 1 per class. Right? So with the guards, go Areen first because he's got that versatility. With the snipers, go Mei first. With the defenders, go Gummy first. With the Vanguards, you probably have already got Myrtle. You may as well build Beanstalk while you're at healers. Go Perfumer first. Caster and supporter, there's only really one ideal choice. And then with the specialists, I would go for Jay first. Fast redeploy is not as important in this mode. Like Gravel as a fast redeploy is not as important in this mode as for general content. Because you can always bring in Yato if you need to. If you've got Project Red, she's generally more useful. If you've got Phantom, he's fantastic. Because that ability to do a lot of damage is extremely useful. Especially with artifacts, his damage can get absolutely ridiculous. So those are the best 4-stars. Now, I will briefly mention some others, just to bring them up. So, Rope and Shore, pushers and pullers, there's not that much use for them in IS. There are some cases you might want to build them up to E1, get them to skill 7, E1 level 1, that's fine, get them to skill 7, and then if you're getting an excess of specialist tags, you can take them as flex picks, but they're not used that often. Other good one is Ambriel for that unlimited snipe range on her skill 2 with some artifacts. And there's a specific artifact for this class that does really make her quite powerful. But again, it's more of a flex pick. It's usually for more advanced players. So she's one I would go for after you do the rest. I mentioned Meteor before. Meteor is better than Jessica, so I would go for Meteor as the second anti-air. It's just I already had Jessica built, so I'm not going to use those resources just yet. Deep Color, being a summoner, is quite useful. Now, summoners outside of Ling are not as amazing in this integrated strategies compared to the original, from what I understand, because I never played the original. I wasn't playing the game back then. So summoners, you don't need that much, but it's good for every account to have at least one summoner built, because the summoner is really good for those stages where you need a lot of bodies. It's just usually you want someone a bit stronger than Deep Color. And I highly recommend you pull the upcoming Ling. She's the best upcoming unit, so you should absolutely pull for her. And if you do get her, then you'll find yourself using Ling most of the time. Extra Vanguards can always be good. It depends on, you know, who you've got, who you want to use. The Charger Vanguards have a ridiculously good artifact for doing the Vanguard role, where they get, I think it's 6 DP on kill, amongst other things. So sometimes you want to get different archetypes just in case you get the artifacts. But it's not high priority. Beanstalk plus Myrtle is generally enough. So that's it for the 4 stars. Now I'll briefly mention the 3 stars. The rules are pretty much the same. Build 1 of each class, just in case you get a tag, and 3 stars are free to add to your team. It costs no hope, which is the recruitment points. And so when you get, say, a Vanguard tag and you don't want to spend any of the hope, or you don't have any hope to spend, then you'll have the options to go for something. Do you want to build at least 1 of each class? Now, I have not finished building them on this account. I should build probably Popcar and Melantha as well. But the best 3 stars to go for are Cruce, because you need that anti-air, and Cruce is an amazing 3-star. You want Ansel, he's the better healer. And you also want Spot, again, that versatility. He can, he's basically like a worse Gummy. You want Fang for that free DP. She does come in quite handy. And then Midnight for being that range guard. Those are the 5 I would focus on first. Now, leveling 3 stars is so cheap that you should really get to pretty much all of them. I would say the only 3 stars I don't really recommend, that I would leave for absolute last if you have to, is Plume, Catapults, and probably Vanilla. Everybody else has their use. And even those 3 that I mentioned, there are situations where you could make use of them. I would just put them at the lowest priority. That's it with the 3 stars. 2s and 1s, very straightforward. Level every single one. They're free to add to your teams in IS2. And there's quite often, once you've got an established roster, you start taking things like the robots and some of the 2 stars, especially like Yato, just for those utility picks. So that's it. That's my advice on what to raise. Now, quick note on 4 stars versus 5s. In IS2, you use 4 stars way more than you use 5s. Because generally, you're either saving points for a 6, or you're on a budget and you're going for cheap units or free units. So 5s actually get used the least out of all the rarities. So I think leveling up 4 stars is more important than leveling up 5 stars. In the 5 stars, the only ones I would really prioritize is Elysium if you got them, Telopsis, Lapland, and that's it. There's plenty of great 5 stars, but those are the ones I would consider high priority to build. Everybody else, there's usually a 4-star that can do the same thing, or you're going to be using the better 6-star instead. So that's my advice on what to build. You've got a good amount of time before this mode releases. It should be maybe a month away, maybe a little sooner. We're not 100% sure yet. You've got enough time to build up your units. And remember, the mode is permanent, so even if it sounds really daunting, like a lot of units to build up, don't worry, you can always do it a little bit later. Alright, thanks for watching, guys. Now, I'm on holiday by the time you see this video, so I won't be able to reply to comments right away, but I do hope that people in the comment sections can help each other, and I have a few videos scheduled for while I'm gone, and then I'll do more when I get back, and I will also answer some queries, and I will create more videos on integrated strategies. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you in about 2 weeks' time.